Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. For those that have just joined us, it is the EGL League of Legends Championship Summoners Cup number 14 any rank tournament between NFH and R5. This is round of 64. The players are all here now. I am the Patch. With me casting here is Elthazar. And we should be getting into Champ Select fairly soon. All the players are here. And I've just given the go sign, so there we go. Champ Select is on. NFH versus R5, Summoners Cup number 14, round of 64. And right away we see a Shyvana ban coming out of NFH. Now that does look quite interesting. Shaco also getting banned away here by R5. These are some very uncommon bans, not non-standard, and let's see if these teams have any specific strategy they're going for. If they research their opponents, trying to ban away some key bans. We do see the Kassadin ban, and that is a ban that is to be expected pretty much in every single game. Annie and Lucian also getting banned out here by R5, so that's a fairly bottom lane centered set of bans coming out of R5 here. Annie, of course, very strong bursty support, and Lucian, we have seen the rise of Lucian in past tournaments, especially in Korea, where he is. I'm not sure if it's the case anymore, but he was sitting on 100% pick and ban rate for quite a while over in OGN.
Yes, indeed. Lucian is currently sat in very firmly in the god tier of AD carries. We have seen two picks come out at this point. We have NFH Sheep Noodles, who is actually the AD carry player, picking up Fizz. That's probably going to go on to Homicida, who is the mid lane player for NFH. We also see the picks of Thresh and Renekton, two of the very powerful picks for their respective lanes. And due to the changes of Relic Shield, Thresh is still available to pick it up, because his auto attack does not count as range. He's actually basically a melee attack with an incredibly long range.
Well, today I learned it is quite a big range, actually. I'm not sure why it's classified as a melee attack. I mean, it does not fire a projectile. That's true, yeah.
That's the main reason it's classified as a melee attack. We do see the bottom lane picked up. We have Taric and Jinx. Taric coming back into favor a little bit. He was left out to the side for a good portion of Season 3 because of the fact that he only had one stun, and more aggressive supports, the likes of Thresh and Leona, were far more popular. We also see Nami for better utility play. The combo of Jinx and Taric could be quite potent, however, because if Dazzle lands into Flame Chompers, that's a good 2.5 seconds where someone is unable to move and taking substantial damage, especially if that Jinx can land Zap and can land maybe a couple of crits with Fishbones as well, dealing good AoE damage. A couple of picks coming out as well. We see on the R5 side, we see T hovering over Lissandra. We also see Ezreal being hovered over. Thresh Ezreal, not necessarily the most common lane composition, due to the fact that when you play a Thresh, you generally want a more all-in sort of carry, I would say. But I'm not going to say it's an unviable setup, because Ezreal does have considerable damage post level 6.
Oh yes, he does. That True Shot Barrage can be very bursty, and Thresh Ezreal are very adept at getting away from stuff. Of course, with the Dark Passage coming out of Thresh, Ezreal just can click the Lantern and get away, and if Thresh is not there, you can just use this Arcane Shift. So, if he Arcane Shifts in time, the fact that Taric's Dazzle is a projectile, if he has a reaction time that is fast enough to Arcane Shift away or click the Lantern before the Dazzle hits him, he will be stunned a fair and safe distance away from his enemies. Lissandra getting picked up for the middle lane. That is going to be quite interesting. Lissandra obviously a very potent ganker with that Glacial Path. And also can put down quite a bit of burst when she gets that level 6, gets that Frozen Tomb. NFH, we do see them pick up the Elise and the Maokai in the jungle. Now that is quite interesting.
Maokai, definitely been out of favor for quite a while, but there's nothing wrong with him. He's a very tanky jungler, and also has great utility. He has a very long-range route which cannot be stopped by flash. If someone flashes while Twisted advances on them, Maokai will follow them. The Vengeful Maelstrom, incredibly strong, reduces all damage taken by allies within that field by 20%, and then deals a percentage of the damage absorbed on top of a base amount when it explodes. You also have the Saplings for great vision over the wall, and one will never be able to forget the touchdown sapling moment made by Rivington in the early stages of Season 3. And also Arcane Smash, which is either a slow or a knockback, depending on how close you are to him. Elise is actually the top laner, it looks like, for this, which is interesting. She's definitely quite a good pickup against a Renekton, but she's very, very squishy in the early game. So if they can pick up, as we do see being hovered over Elise Sin, a very aggressive early jungler, then .ie may be in quite a bit of trouble in that top lane.
It may indeed. Lee Sin and Renekton, of course. The Dragons, I do say it all the time, but it is definitely something to watch out for. Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike, into Warp Jump or Flash, into Dragon's Rage. It's the insect, as many people say, and it is so potent at getting gangs stun. And with Elise, of course, she does have the repel, but it does not really help much if she needs to flee in direction of her turret, because she obviously cannot repel to friendly units. So she can land the cocoon to potentially help her get away, but she either does land it on Renekton or Elise Sin. And the other one will still be able to chase her down, because both of these champions are very, very mobile. We got the Slice and Dice coming out of Renekton, and we got basically his entire kit coming out of Lee Sin. So top lane definitely something to be watched out for in this game. Ladies and gentlemen, the teams have been picked. We are into the delay phase. 3 minutes until we get to the game. Let's just quickly go over the team compositions and that type. For NFH, it is going to be .ie playing Elise in the top lane. In the jungle, it's going to be ELTK Razor on Maokai in the jungle. In the middle lane, it does look like it's going to be Homicide Clam, sorry about that, on Fizz, and in the bottom lane, Cheap Noodles and Unsung Namkhun on Jinx and Tarek.
And on the red side, for R5, we see Optical Sapsu in the top lane playing Renekton. In the jungle, we have Quizena playing Lee Sin. In the middle lane, we have ZT playing Lissandra. And in the bottom lane, we have Spezu and Paliko playing Thresh and Ezreal, respectively. The delay timer coming on down. Since you always ask me, I'm going to ask you, what's your theory for level 1?
It's your job. But looking at the both of these teams, I do think both teams have very potent level 1 capabilities. We got the Zap, which is a very potent slow coming out of Jinx, along with the Tarek Dazzle, of course. If he starts with that, that's going to be a free targeted stun in the early stage of the game. Plus, Elise, not being in the jungle, but in the top lane, does allow her to start with her cocoon without having to sacrifice her clear time. So, very potent CC coming out of NFH. But looking at R5, they do have the Thresh, which can start with a Death Sentence. They have the Renekton, which can start with a Ruthless Predator stun. We got the Ring of Frost coming out for Lissandra, which is a very potent snare as well. And Lee Sin can just catch people out if he lands a Sonic Wave. Obviously, those are the set pieces. Now it's up to you to turn them into a bigger picture of what we'll see in level 1.
Because it's very, very meta since basically the dawn of time for Tarek to start with that stun, with the Dazzle, then level 1 is probably more likely to come out of NFH, I would say, because they have that guaranteed stun. There's nothing really better to start on Tarek. You can start Shatter for a little bit of extra aura armor, but it's not too strong in the early game. You can start with the heal, but if you're doing it right, you shouldn't be taking that much damage in level 1 trades, so Dazzle is usually the best pickup, which means that they have a guaranteed stun in their comp at the start. If .ie wants to, he can take Cocoon as well, which is an even longer range stun. So if .ie can land the Cocoon, and then Namkhun can come in and land the Dazzle as well, that's a good 2.5 seconds of someone just locked down, in place, and getting beat on by Cheap Noodles, playing Jinx, likely to start with a switcheroo, gaining bonus attack speed every time she attacks in Pow Pow form. And if someone runs away, she could potentially land that last hit with a very long-range rocket coming out of Fishbones.
Very true. So, NFH, in your opinion, looking to be the stronger level 1 team in this game. We will find out fairly soon as we do get to jump into the game. The delay timer has ended. We will be getting into the loading screen right now. It's going to be NFH versus R5 in the EGL Summoners Cup number 14, round of 64. Now we have talked about level 1 in Champ Select. Now, while the loading screen is on, you should know what's coming now. I usually ask this question every time. In terms of early to mid game, if we look at that kind of time period. Now, obviously, we do see some uncommon picks coming out here. Lysandra, she's getting picked. She's not a priority pick, really. We do see her occasionally, but she's not as often picked as, for, say, an Ahri or a Gragas in the late meta that has been going on lately. And the Maokai in the jungle is definitely something interesting to see. What do you think will these teams be looking to do in the early to mid stage of the game to get themselves an advantage, and which team will be able to make better use of that advantage later on in the game?
The first major objective is probably going to be the dragon. Both teams do have good potential to take out the dragon in the earlier stages of the game. We do have high damage coming out from Jinx and Fizz, meaning that clearing a dragon would be fairly easy for NFH. We also have Lee Sin, who is known as one of the junglers who can quite easily solo dragon, so long as vision is kept away from him, or he isn't happened upon by a wandering Maokai.
Well, Wandering Maokai, I mean, he is a living tree. Trees usually are stationary, but this one does walk around, and let's see if he keeps good enough of a view on the jungle objectives, mainly on his own jungle, to keep that blind monk away. Ladies and gentlemen, all the loading indicators have reached 100%. We will be jumping into the game right away, and I've said this quite a lot, but just for those who have just joined us, EGL Summoners Cup number 14 game between NFH Noobs for Hire versus R5 rollo5. We are in the game, ladies and gentlemen. We have loaded in. It is going to be a good one, I hope. And whoever wins this one will advance to the round of 32 and get just that little bit of a step closer to the grand prize of 3,200 RP per player, plus that limited Triumphant Rise skin that you can only gain if you play in tournaments sanctioned by Riot Games.
Yep, second place, not exactly shabby, 2,400 IP, nice amount of skins, you can buy that. But of course, the exclusivity is slightly lost. In third place, you do have 1,600 RP and 800 RP per player for the fourth place team. As we do see NFH going for that aggressive play, heading towards the red buff of rollo5.
Yep.
The entire team is there.
They do move in, Sapling thrown out for that little bit of vision. And we do see the entirety of rollo5 hanging around at their own blue buff area, so it does not look like they'll be making any aggressive moves on towards that enemy jungle. And we will see if NFH are able to make that steal go through, because right now rollo5, they have no idea what is going on. They do not have any wards placed in that specific area, no champions checking out what's going on. We do see Optical Sepsu hanging around in the area, but it does look like he'll just move on to his top lane and leave the buff unattended. So, LTK and Razor and .ie in position will probably be picking this buff up, and I'm going to see if it's going to be a unpleasant surprise for the Lee Sin if he does move in. We do see some pings coming out of rollo5 onto that red buff. Optical Sapsu now slowly making his way on towards it. And he will probably catch... Oh no, he does not. He moves away. So, no knowledge of this buff steal from rollo5 will go through. NFH will steal away their enemy's red buff. And Lee Sin, let's see if he manages to steal the red buff before Maokai gets his hands on it.
We do see Maokai heading towards the top lane. We might have a very early gank coming out. Hasn't seen what Razor is actually going to take for his second point, so tries to get around onto Sapsu, but I think that may be a little ask too far. Actually,
there we go. The twisted advance is onto Optical Sapsu. He's going very, very low. Has to flash away. He's down to half health. Has to pop his pods. He does survive, but his flash is burned. Very, very gank coming out here of Razor very early on in the game.
Quizena has just gone to his red buff to find it gone. Unfortunately, this isn't Runeterra Station. You can't just say, do not leave your buffs unattended. All unattended buffs will be stolen.
I guess so. It might be some helpful tip for those loading screens. I mean, it's nice that Nautilus' joke makes him swim around the air, but I think something like that would be a little more helpful. We do see Quizena in the middle lane showing his presence, but not really doing anything. City actually goes aggressive here onto Homicide, and will he be able to get the kill? The Ignite is ticking away. It was going to be the first blood over to rollo5. A nice engagement from Skitty in the middle lane, and we do see Quizena picking up the enemy red buff. So it did take him a while to get both his buffs done, but he does get it in the end, and .ie now getting aggressive. Getting aggressed upon in the top lane. The Ignite is ticking away, but it will not be enough to take him down. He did burn his flash, though. So that's going to be both flashes down in the top lane for both of the top laners in this game. Very, very aggressive and action-packed early stages of the game here.
Definitely. As I was saying, .ie on that Elise is very, very squishy in the early stages of the game, which means that if a trade goes down, then it's very likely to actually go in favor of Optical Sapsu.
Oh. That might very well be the case. Razor moving around the golem area. And we do see on the bottom lane Palico going very, very low, using the Dark Passage to get that shield. The Dazzle lands onto Spacesuit. It does look like rollo5's bottom lane has a little bit of a problem here. They are slightly ahead in CS, but low on health, pushed to their turret, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It just shows that NFH are being very aggressive here in this bottom lane.
Definitely, but that may not necessarily be the good thing, as we do see Quizena come into this bot lane. He could very easily get aggression down.
Oh, he just safeguards to a minion, goes into the brush and recall, so no aggression coming out of him here. He did scare away NFH though, and that's gonna give some breathing room over to rollo5's bottom lane. Meanwhile, on the other lanes, if we take a look at the general situation there, and we do see some slight CS leads in favor of rollo5 this early on, but they're not really that substantial. And in the jungle, you do see that Razor has been farming away, while Quizena has not picked up an assist yet, and is about half of the farm of his jungling opponent. The death sentence does land in the bottom lane onto Unsung Namkoon, and there's the Dazzle onto Relico. He steps into a Flame Charm, but this may be very, very bad for him. Has to burn the barrier, but he will not be taken down. In the top lane, again, we do see Optical Sapsu going aggressive onto .ie, and whenever he does that, .ie is in a lot of trouble. Last time we saw an engagement go down, he had to burn his flash. He almost died, and in the bottom lane, we may actually see NFH going for the dive as Spacesuit lands the death sentence onto Cheap Noodles. The exhaust does come down. He's going very, very low. There's the flash in from Palico. He picks up the kill with an auto attack, but there is the retaliation kill coming out of Jinx here due to some heavy minion damage. We do see Quizena coming in from the river onto Unsung Namkoon. There's no way he's going to get out of that. That's going to be another kill in favor of rollo5. And then the top lane, .ie going very, very low. Optical Sapsu, not quite enough to take him down. But he has to recall, leave his lane. And we do see a very large CS lead now having built up in the top lane. And that's only going to get worse.
Definitely, we do see the components for a Haunting guys coming out of .ie at this point. It's going to boost his sustainability quite nicely, and of course give a very nice bonus to his damage due to the fact that it gives bonus magic penetration when you buy the item. However, at the moment that's not really going to help, as Optical Sapsu is a level up on him, does have that dominus available, and is going to try and proxy down this minion wave as he allows his minions to push the tower.
He does, .ie getting back to lane, and does not like Optical Sapsu will stick around. He's just going to back away and buy himself something nice with the CS lead he has managed to build up in the top lane. So that's going to give a little bit of time to .ie to catch up on farm. Now, in the middle lane, looking at the matchup right there, we did see Lissandra, of course, pick up the first blood here in this game onto that Fizz. Was that something you would have expected from the get-go?
Lissandra is one of those mid lanes that can play very aggressively against the Fizz and get away with it due to the fact that should Fizz attempt to use Chum the Waters on her, she can just use Frozen Tomb to mitigate that damage. It's basically a free Zhonya's, which is a very powerful thing. As we actually do see Sapsu going in on .A in the top lane. The trade comes up fairly even, actually.
Yes, it does. .A even coming out on top. And we do see the pause happening, ladies and gentlemen. Gonna see what's the problem right here. Apparently, there's some lag for NFH going on, so hopefully they'll work to get that fixed so we can get back into the game as soon as possible. But as long as long as we are in this pause, let's take a look at the slight advantage that rollo5 has managed to build up here in the early stages of the game. They are 3 kills up. About 1,500 gold at this point, and it does look like they're showing their dominance in pretty much all of the lanes. What do you think about that?
In the early stages of the game, it was fairly inevitable that dominance would be a good thing to see. I mean, in the bottom lane is probably the exception, where you do see the aggression coming out, but not necessarily the kills. Pushing the tower, but that did put it in a situation where they actually went down in a 2-for-1 trade, where it came in to pick up that.
Oh, on the top lane, .IE again going very, very low as the dominance gets popped here by Optical Sapsu. There's the repel. He tries to get away, but the ignite will be enough to pick him up. That's another kill for rollo5 as Renekton picks himself up 1. So that's every laner except for the support sitting on a kill here. And about on the bottom lane, we do see Lee Sin coming in with the Dark Passage. He does place the ward and ward jump. There's the flash getting burned out of Unsung Namkoon. There's the box. He will go down here. There's no way he's going to survive this one. Palico picks that up. He tried to stick around for as long as possible. Meanwhile, on the mid lane, we do see a gank coming out of Razor City, going very low. The ignite had been burned. He had to use the Glacial Patch to get away. And the flash. So that is a very potent response to what happened in the bottom lane just now, but they did not manage to pick up the kill.
Definitely we see now a 5-for-1 kill lead coming out for rollo5. Do see also a 2.8k gold lead. What? It's 2.8k, I thought, but I was reading that wrong for a second. 9 minutes and 35 seconds into the game, it's not the biggest lead, but NFH do need to start thinking about objectives, getting things warded up, because these lanes may well snowball very quickly at this stage.
Yes, that is true, and as we have said, the entirety of rollo5's team, if we look at it, we got some very potent combos coming out. Just think Box, Frozen Tomb, plus True Shot Barrage. So if they get ahead, they can turn it into tangible advantages. It'll help them win the team fights. It'll help them rack up the gold, get the objectives, and get to their opponent's nexus. While coming from NFH, what do you think in terms of comeback potential for them? What do they need to do at this point where the lead is still fairly small to prevent the worst from happening?
The biggest priority I would say at this point is to try and get dominance over the dragon and try and get that first dragon, because that will basically nullify the gold lead.
Oh, in the top lane we do see City coming in from the middle lane. The Frost Ring does land, and .IE going very, very low as Optical Sapsu is actually going for the dive, but taking too much damage, has to back away. .IE does survive. Oh, City going in too deep, has to use the Frozen Tomb, and manages to take down the turret before it manages to kill him. But following his lane opponent, Hamas Cyclam went up as well and picked himself up 1 kill, so they trade 1-for-1, but it is going to be the first turret in favor of rollo5. As on the bottom lane, we do see some aggression coming out from them. True Shot Barrage was used, but he steps into a Flame Chomper, which prevents him from going any further.
Definitely, we do see ward coverage across the map is, I would say, an advantage of NFH, but at this point they're not being able to convert it. We see Razor coming down the river, but we also do see the bottom lane of rollo5 just heading on back to their turret, more than happy with the engagement they just had. And they are sat on a decent amount of gold at this point, is 600 and 400. We actually do see Cheap Noodle sat on 1,500, which is a very nice amount, as we actually see engagement go down.
Oh, on the bottom lane, the box is used here by Thresh. Unsung Namkoon and Cheap Noodles both slow. Cheap Noodles going very, very low. There's constantly auto attacks coming out. Both of Ezreal and Thresh. He has to burn the flash to get away, and now Unsung Namkoon is going to be the next target. They keep the aggression going. They take them very low, but it's not going to be enough to take the kill. Super Mega Death Rocket comes out to see if it's going to be enough. It is not, but it takes Polyco and Spezu pretty much as low as they are, which will help in ensuring lane dominance. In the mid lane, City being aggressed upon, Chum the Waters was used, and a nice gank coming out of Razor picks up the kill right there.
Very well played there. The knock-up from Chum the Waters actually occurred at the exact point that Ziti was trying to teleport to his glacial path, meaning that it was cancelled, and therefore Homicide and Razor were very easily picked up the kill. Good job there, bringing the kill lead now down to 3. Gold lead is still hovering around 2,500 at this point, however.
Yeah. We did see the first turret go over to rollo5, which underlines the advantage they had this early on in the game. But we did see NFH making some plays in the past few minutes and trying to get the game back into their direction. Now, a 2.5k gold lead is nothing too bad. It is a deficit, looking from NFH's perspective here, but it is not big enough to say that it is a dire situation for them. I would say that so far the game has actually been pretty even, as we see good engagements coming out of both of these teams, and it's just a slight edge that has gone over to rollo5. They have been able to pick up the kills on the middle lane. Razor may be in trouble. A Frozen Tomb is used, and here's Cyclam coming in as well. Razor going very low. He tries to turn the aggression around, and now City going very low. He does pick up the kill. There's a true shot barrage from the bottom lane. Razor, the Ignite is ticking away. Cyclam will go down as well. Shutdown goes over to Renekton. They trade 1 for 1.
Yes, indeed. We actually see now a 3-man attempt on the Dragon. Kill pickup is that the jungle and bottom lane of rollo5 are going to go straight in for the first Dragon of the game.
Oh.
It is going to be picked up.
Nice steal attempt, though, with that Super Mega Death Rocket. Was not quite enough.
Yes, that does see the gold lead now advance to just over 3,000 at this point, 14 minutes into
Look at
the
the
game.
damage coming out of Optical Zapstone on the top lane. He decides to go aggressive on the .ie, and by doing so takes him down to half health. Now he's going to have to wait for his cooldown. On the bottom lane, we do see the Dazzle coming out of Polyco. The Frame Chompers immediately follow. He tries to Arcane Shift away, but the Zap... Oh, Spezu blocks it. He will not be going down here, but he's taking a lot of damage. They're still going aggressive. City going to look to potentially join this fight. He is just going to hang around the bottom lane to show that there is not a dive to be had right here, guys.
Yes, the simple case of, hey guys, but no.
Yeah.
No.
No. Don't even think about it.
Major items starting to come out at this point. We do see the Trinity Force on Paolico, and we also see the Ravenous Hydra on Optical Sapsu at this point in the game. He's 201 with 128 CS. That is an astronomical lead, almost 50 CS. In fact, yes, actually 50 CS advantage over .ie in the top lane, who only currently has a Haunting Guise to his name, comparative to that Ravenous Hydra and Brutalizer. At this stage, only 15 minutes into the game, that's a very considerable lead.
Very true. We do see NFH picking up their first turret of the game here in the bottom lane. Flame Chompers are thrown out to stop any pursuers from pursuing. That's going to give a little bit of gold back to them, but Polyco getting caught out by the Dazzle here in the bottom lane. Nice brush. Dominance coming out of Unsung Namkoon. They're still in pursuit, but he may be going quite low. The Super Mega Death Rocket will be enough to pick him up, and Spacezo now in trouble as well. The Dazzle will be available fairly soon. There it is. He is getting stunned. He will go down. A double kill for Jinx. NFH coming out big. Oh, and in the middle lane, we do see Vizina picking up the kill onto the Fizz as he does gank the middle lane. So overall, all over the map, as we did see in the top lane also, .ie going down to Renekton, it is a 2 for true trade, so they do respond to that bottom lane engagement.
Definitely, we do see the gold slightly diminished. It's still hovering around 3,000, but we could easily see Namkoon and Cheap Noodles actually get cycled around, as we do see Ziti and Quizena coming down towards this bottom lane.
Yeah, they're going to circle them in. Polyco going aggressive here onto Cheap Noodles. The two-shot barrage does miss. He will go down here. Jinx picks himself up a kill, but here we do see Quizena coming in, taking down Tarek, and now Jinx may be in a little bit of trouble as Spacezo is right there. The flay does land. Safeguard from Quizena onto him. Picks up the kill. Double kill for Lee Sin.
Yes, a very tempestuous performance coming out from Quizena at this point in the game. He's currently 4-0-2 with that Spirit of the Ancient Golem and Spectre's Cowl, meaning that he's quite tanky. But simple fact is, it's like you said, without a doubt, he deals considerable damage throughout the game, regardless of how he builds, because of course, the Resonating Strike component of his Q deals bonus damage based on 8% of the target's missing health, so it is very much an execution component.
Yes, and they do have the execution component down quite well, as there have been 4 executions in his favor. He's doing a very, very good job at jungling, and has picked up the Warden's Mail as well, along with a Ruby Crystal. Other than that, nothing much going on the map right now, other than a little bit of farming in the jungles. The lanes are pretty much vacant. Ezreal has moved on to that middle lane to get some farming done as well. But other than that, quiet times. No, actually, he's just standing around doing nothing. Oh, well, I kind of expected that after seeing that. Another pause coming down, ladies and gentlemen. We are very sorry. I'm going to see what the cause is for this one. If it's going to be lag again. Yep, it is. So hopefully we will get that fixed in the next few minutes. Now, state of the game right now. Take us through it.
Well, as we see in the top left corner, Dragon is respawning in 2 minutes, and the entirety of the vision on the map in the area of the Dragon is very much in favor of NFH at this stage. So, despite their 4-kill deficit and 4,000 gold, nigh on deficit in gold, they still have the chance to claw back a good amount of gold just by picking up the Dragon. But they've got to make sure they do it without giving up kills in the process. As we can see in the gold right now, 3,000 gold is the difference in the top lane. Actually, no, 2,500 rather. I just saw the 7 and the 4 and assumed. But the simple fact is that Optical Satsu is doing incredibly well so far in this game. 157 CS, far exceeding anyone else in the game. 301 comparative to the 98 CS and 031 scoreline on .ie, meaning that a lot of gold is going into his favor. And you can see that. We have actually seen .ie pick up that needlessly large rod in the top lane, but it's just not to compare with that Ravenous Hydra, Brutalizer, completed Mercury's Treads, and another Null Magic Mantle, which I'm tempted to say would go towards a Hex Drinker.
Well, that might very well be the case. Razor in the middle lane, trying to prevent this turret from going down, uses Twisted Advance onto Optical Sapsu, but look at that, the damage is way too high. True Shot Barrage coming through as well, he has to flash away, but Optical Sapsu listens to Sorrow. Fizz picks up him. They do manage to get the shut down onto him as they deal the first death to his KDA, but now from the bottom lane come in Jinx and Tarek. The Dazzle does land, but they take a lot of damage in retaliation. It's a bit of a standoff here in the middle lane as most of both teams are assembled right there, trying to deal some damage, trying to get some poking done. You may see a fight break off here very, very soon as minion waves are closing in.
4 members of either team are currently in the middle lane, but we do see Razor coming up the mid lane as well. He did manage to survive that past engagement, getting out very low health when Optical Sapsu got shut down. Low poke coming down onto Zitty, but not an incredibly massive amount, a couple of hundred damage. He's got plenty more where that came from.
No, that's true. And health regen is obviously a factor as well, so if that poke is not followed up by more poke, he will just heal that right back up, and we do see some potent poking coming out of NFH as well. Super Mega Death Rocket actually used. I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe
I think it's a simple fact of the... possibly, but at this point we do have 5 members of NFH currently sat in that middle lane. I think that's Jinx saying, we're going to siege this tower down, and we're going to poke you heavily while we're doing so. Because as you see, we saw a good amount of damage go down onto that tower. All 5 members are very, very determined to get that tower, and Zitty is now, or was then, using that recall, which meant that had he left, ability to clear waves on the side of R5.
May be in a peculiar situation here as the Sonic Wave onto him does get attempted. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, we do see the Cocoon landing onto Sapsu. Here's the engagement. Box is used. Unsung Namcoon going very, very low. He is going to be picked up by Ezreal. In the meanwhile, Cuisino has to flash away. It's going to be a double kill for Ezreal so far. But look at that. Jinx managed to pick up one for herself. Razor now getting aggressed upon by Optical Sapsu. Will go! No, he will not quite go down. There's the slice and dice. In the meanwhile, Jinx managing to pick up a triple kill with very, very low health. But the chase is still on, onto the tree. We do see Homicide Clam jumping away. They do manage to juke away Optical Sap, so he will not be able to pick up a kill for himself. But we did see some kills go over to Jeep Noodles, and that's going to be huge. Triple kill, 7-2-0. He's now sitting on 2,000 gold. That's going to be a nice little item for him.
Yes, indeed. He's already sat on that Infinity Edge, which means that when he backs, we will see exactly what his plan is. I wouldn't be surprised since he's already got that dagger to build into something like a Phantom Dancer, or, as we now see, a Static Shiv coming out. Both of the supports do, of course, have Face of the Mountain. The Deadly Phalanx passive is, or active rather, is incredibly powerful. It gives a shield for 10% of the character's maximum health at the cost of 20% of their current health. So it's very good on supports that like to play aggressively, like Thresh or Leona, as they go into a fight, get low.
Oh, the Dazzle lands onto City in the middle lane. He's going very, very low. The Cocoon does land. They do decide to go for the dive. Nice Zonias, but it will only delay the inevitable. .ie picks up the kill. And now we do see Christina coming on with a safeguard onto a minion. True Shot Barrage did go through, doing some damage onto .ie, but he will walk away from this one with about half of his health still intact. And NFH going to the dragon.
As you can, as I've said, they've had dominance over the vision in the area. But as you can see, we do see the bottom lane and Optical Zapsu coming in towards this fight.
Oh, the Death Sentence lands onto Cheap Noodles. That is a very, very important target to land the Death Sentence on. Palico does come in with the Arcane Shift, manages to pick him up. Unsung Namku now going to be the next target. It's going to be a double kill for Ezreal. Razor managing to get away. There's the war jump out of Cuisina. Will he be able to land the Sonic Wave? No, he will not. He does decide to attempt it onto Homicide.ie. In the meanwhile, sitting there trying to recall. Does land the Cocoon onto Optical Sapsuit. Has to flash away as some of the waters takes away most of his health. ELTK Razor now in trouble as well. The box was used, slows him down, making him available for the pickup for Lee Sin. They trade very, very nicely after giving up a couple of kills. But they do manage to take down the middle outer turret. And that is going to be huge, as they still continue the push, potentially looking for the inner as well. Super Mega Death Rocket coming out, doing loads of damage to Optical Sapsu, of course. Damage portion of Super Mega Death Rocket depends on how much health a champion has left, and because that was not much, the damage was very, very high. They do manage to all get away alive, though. They are happy with that middle outer turret pickup. Will recall and make something out of that money, as we do see Cuisina preparing to get that blue buff. Potentially giving it over to Palico. Yep.
Following the smartest idea at this point, Ezreal has fairly high mana consumption and a double buff on a carry at this stage in the game. When he is 6-4 with that Trinity Force and Last Whisper, hasn't yet finished his boots yet, but as an Ezreal, that's not necessarily the largest consideration, considering you are so very mobile with that Arcane Shift. A lot of execution components sitting around in this game. We have got, of course, the Venomous Bite coming out from the spider form of Elise. Super Mega Death Rocket is, of course, an execute as well, dealing damage based on missing health. And as we've gone over a couple of times already, Resonating Strike deals bonus damage equal to 8% of the target's missing health. As Optical Sapsu comes in and actually goes aggressive on .ie.
He does. .ie going very, very low. The Dominus is activated. Going to deal some damage onto him. Will he be able to take him down? .ie running away nicely, uses the Repel to juke that. And he will be able to get away from this one.
We also see the Dazzle going down onto Spesu in that bottom lane.
Yes, we do. Spesu going very, very low. He will go down here to Cheap Noodles. Cassandra coming in using the Frozen Tomb onto Homicide Clam. The Chum the Waters is attempted, but does not quite hit him. Meanwhile, Cheap Noodles picks himself up the City and gets a double kill. And now Palico catching Homicide Clam. He's in a little bit of a peculiar situation. That's going to be a kill over to him. Razor now into a bit of trouble as well. Cuisina picks up that one with a Dragon's Rage. But Jeep Noodles and Unsung Namkoon are onto the bottom inhibitor turret. Is going down quite fast. Optical Zapsu is coming in, but look at the damage. He will go down here. Super Mega Death Rocket will be enough to pick him up. They're going to take this inhibitor turret. And look at that. Ezreal coming in from the side. Arcane shifting over the wall into his base. He cannot prevent this turret from going down, but he can prevent the inhibitor from going down. Huge pickup here.
We
Sorry.
see Crusader coming in.
Oh.
is already away, but maybe Namcoon's in danger.
Unsung Hamcon has to flash the Sonic Wave, but there's the flash from Kuzina. After him, Flame Chompers are placed, but they do not quite manage to catch Kuzina out. The Zap does. It slows him down, but the Sonic Wave will be available. They do decide to go aggressive onto him. There's a two-shot barrage. Unsung Namcoon will go down here, and Ezreal will pick up himself a double kill as the Arcane shifts in.
Yeah, the fact that Namcoon and Cheap Noodles tried to fight Crusader at that point gave Spesu and Palico just enough time to come into that bottom lane and pick up yet another double kill for this Ezreal. Now 7, 9, and 4 at this point with 5 assists.
Oh no, they may be in a little bit of trouble. Spesu has to burn a slash to get away from Homicide. Boxes also burned. There's Chum the Water. It does land. He's gonna get slowed down. He's gonna get bursted down. He is going down. .ie coming on as well. Will he land the Cocoon? Yes, he will. That's gonna be a pickup. Homicide Clamp. Homicide Dam. Oh man, he does pick him up. So it is Homicide Dam. I've been pronouncing this name the wrong way this entire game, but I will fix it from now on.
Oh dear. Minute 45 until the dragon respawns for a third time in this game. Both teams have one dragon each at this stage. 26.5 minutes into the game. Kill lead currently 24-16 in favor of rollo5, our red team. And they have a gold lead of approximately 3,000, although towers are even across the map.
Yes, they are. So, this game, the gold lead has been hovering around 3,000 since the very early stage of the game, so NFH putting up a good fight, and I'd say this game is very, very even between those two teams. Both of them making plays where they matter, and both of them responding quite nicely to plays from the other team. Kill lead is still in favor of rollo5, has been throughout most of the game, but NFH are responding quite nicely.
Definitely, we do see 3 members of rollo5 hanging around in that bottom side of the jungle. A couple of wards are placed, but I think that's mainly for vision, as nobody actually has the vision to see the vision ward placed by NFH currently sat in the outer edge of the dragon pit.
Kuzina, having picked up that Banshee's Veil, going to be quite strong to block away, for example, that Dazzle, or the Cocoon, or if he's quite low, the Super Mega Death Rocket, although I imagine by that point, if he is quite low, the Banshee's Veil will already have been popped. But still, a nice pickup and some magic resistance into his direction. And he does cheekily steal away the enemy Wraiths, as we do see rollo5 assembling on the middle lane. Oh, actually, pings onto Baron are going down. I'm going to see if they actually going to go for the Baron here. Oh, it does not look like it. LTK Rays are using the trusted advance on City. He is getting caught out here. Unsung Namcoon is there as well. Has to flash away over the wall. Meanwhile, Kazina getting very, very low. .ie picks that one up. Palico has to use the Arcane Shift and the flash to get away. That's a Super Mega Death Rocket. Not quite enough to pick him up, but the trusted advance from Wader will be enough. 3 for nothing in the middle lane. Very, very good engagement coming out of NFH. They're going to pick up this middle outer turret, and they're going to have time to pick up the middle inner as well, I imagine.
A little bit of miscommunication possibly coming out from rollo5 there. 3 members of the team tried to go in, but once again, really well played, as the glacial path wasn't able to be followed up as a knock-up or a stun landed onto Ziggsy before he could actually land it.
They take the inhibitor turret as well, and the inhibitor is going quite low too. They will be able to pick up 3 turrets and an inhibitor just from this one middle lane fight.
Exceptional play from that single fight, and you can see how a single fight actually turns around a game. The kill lead is now only down to 1, and there's now a 2,000 gold lead in favor of NFH.
And it's not going to end here, as we do see NFH making the move on towards the dragon. We do see some pings coming out from rollo5. They do not want to give this dragon up. They have just lost an inhibitor and a couple of turrets. They're not going to be wanting to give more gold over to the enemy team, as Unsung Namcoon does get caught out, unfortunately. They get the kill, but the dragon goes over to NFH, and they are now sitting on a 3,000 gold lead. They have turned this game right around.
Definitely. We do see pings coming out towards the Baron once again. It does look like rollo5 are aware of the current weakness of NFH at this stage. They do have one ward in the river, but it is about to time out, so timing is going to have to be absolutely exquisite if the kill on the Baron can be stolen.
They're gonna start it off. It's going very, very low, but we do see NFH making some moves. There are Flame Chompers coming out, .ie coming in, landing the Cocoon onto Palico, but the aggression comes out from Optical Sapsu onto him. Manages to get him away from the Baron. Meanwhile, rollo5 still chunking away at it. There's the box. Oh, look at that! The steal does come out from Maokai. That's going to be a Baron for NFH. City now going very, very low. He is going to die here. The users of though managed to take down the fist, but it's a double kill so far for Jinx.ie now onto Cuisina. Will he be able to pick him up here? It does not look like it, but they're still onto Optical Sapsu. He's getting circled in. That's going to be another kill. 4-for-1 so far, as we do see the ace coming out of NFH after a beautiful Baron steal. Very, very nicely done.
ELTK Razor making that clutch steal for a 5-for-1 trade. Homicide is the only member of the team that went down, meaning that the kills have also been flipped. Everything is flipping on its head in this game, as we see a 4-man NFH pushing straight down the middle lane. This may well be GG.
This may very well be GG. Look at that. The Nexus turrets are going down very, very fast. And especially getting a Gachapon with the twisted advance. He's going to go down as well. City now coming in with the home guard boots, trying his best. Glacial Path is used. He's going to use the Ring of Frost to snare. But look at that. He goes down. ELTK Razor picks up that one. Palico going down as well. A double kill for Jinx. This will be the game. NFH picking up the game versus rollo5 after 31 minutes, and we do see Optical Sapsu coming and trying to do his best, but he will go down here as well. Will he manage to pick up Cheap Noodles? Cuisana doing his best using the Dragon's Rage, but he is now in between 4 members of NFH. The Nexus will go down. Good game, well played. 29 kills to 22, 61.2 to 50.0k, 8 turrets to 3, 31 minutes and 44 seconds. What a beautiful turnaround coming out of NFH. They do deserve this round of 32 advance.
Absolutely stellar play coming out from the entirety of NFH. Great teamwork, and that clutch Baron steal coming out from ELTK Razor, turning that last fight around on its head. We actually saw one member of NFH go down while the complete ace came out. Despite the fact that multiple members were fairly low, they were able to push down the middle lane and push out the game.
Very, very true. So, wow, that was pretty exciting. NFH pretty much behind the entire game, but not that far. And they did turn. It all came from this one fight in the middle lane. And that got them what they were able to get in this game. The Baron steal, of course, was a very, very strong factor as well, but they would not have been able to take the game if they had not been able to pick up 3 turrets plus an inhibitor in that preceding fight. So very, very well played by NFH. They do advance to the round of 32. As for us, we will be right back. We're just going to jump into a quick break, but when we're back, more League of Legends is to follow.